Hi guys, welcome back to Flick Finesse. Today we're bringing you 13 thrillers to watch this December 2025 on Amazon Prime Video, Hulu, and Starz. The list includes mind-bending mysteries, high-stakes action, and suspenseful stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. We hope everyone will find something exciting to watch. And don't forget to write in the comments which thrillers you love. We might feature some of your picks in the next video. So, let's not waste any time and jump right in. Number 13. The Phoenician Scheme. Ziza Korda, an aging industrialist built from ambition and denial, stands at the twilight of a life shaped by power more than compassion. Years of silencing his conscience have left him brittle, carrying regrets he refuses to name, especially the distance between him and the daughter who slipped out of his orbit long ago. But everything tilts the moment he survives yet another attempt on his life. The attack cracks open the polished shell he hides behind, forcing him to confront a truth he's long avoided. His legacy has enemies, and so does he. Into this unraveling steps Liesel, the estranged daughter whose quiet resentment is matched only by her resilience. Her return is less a reunion and more a reckoning. Their uneasy partnership plays out in a world arranged with meticulous precision, elegant on the surface, but humming with secrets. Every room they enter feels staged, yet every silence between them carries the weight of years left unresolved. As they navigate a maze of shifting motives and concealed threats, father and daughter are pushed into confronting the parts of themselves they've spent a lifetime avoiding. Each choice pulls them closer to long-buried truths, and each moment tests whether redemption can survive in a world engineered to hide it. The Phoenician Scheme becomes a quietly gripping story of legacy and vulnerability, a fragile bond trying to form in the shadow of a past that refuses to loosen its grip. Number 12. Inheritance. Maya, a young woman restless under the weight of unanswered questions, is desperate to piece together the fragments of a past she's never fully understood. Years of quiet uncertainty have sharpened her need for truth, pushing her into places where clarity and danger walk side by side. But her resolve wavers when she crosses paths with a man wrapped in secrets. Someone whose guarded presence feels as threatening as it is essential. Their unexpected connection becomes the spark for a journey neither is prepared to control. What begins as a search turns into a tense passage through shifting cities and concealed intentions. Beneath each calm surface lies a maze of hidden loyalties and truths designed to stay buried. As Maya pushes deeper, she's forced to confront the identity she's long avoided, each step testing her instincts and unraveling the emotional armor she's built. Inheritance is a moody, slow-burn thriller. A story of one woman fighting to uncover the truth while navigating a world where every answer demands a personal price. Number 11. Bad Match. Harris, a man drifting through life on effortless charm and fleeting encounters, moves through each day with a practiced detachment. Years of casual choices and emotional shortcuts have shaped him into someone who trusts convenience more than connection, teaching him to navigate relationships without ever letting anything truly touch him. He's convinced his world is stable, predictable, and firmly under his control. But that quiet certainty begins to fracture the moment he crosses paths with Riley, a woman whose intensity doesn't fade when the night ends. Their brief encounter becomes the spark for a sudden shift, a connection that refuses to stay casual, lingering in places Harris never expected, and pushing into corners he's tried to keep untouched. This familiar digital landscape becomes a tightening maze. Beneath its glossy surface lies a series of small, unsettling turns, each one nudging Harris deeper into a situation he can't brush off. His once easy rhythms collapse into uneasy confrontations, forcing him to reckon with a reality he never planned for. As the boundaries between online impulses and real-world consequences begin to blur, Harris is pulled into a chain of escalating pressures. Every step forces him to confront the version of himself he's long avoided, and every moment exposes how fragile control can be when the past refuses to stay uncomplicated. Number 10. Seeking justice. Will, a soft-spoken teacher, trying to protect the fragile sense of order he's built, finds his world quietly cracking beneath the weight of fear and helplessness. The life he once trusted begins to feel unsteady, shaped by responsibilities he can't outrun and a growing dread he can't quite name. He's a man pushed into a corner, surviving more on duty than conviction. But everything shifts the night he encounters a stranger. A calm, calculated figure who speaks in promises wrapped in shadows. Their meeting, set against the stillness of a city that never truly sleeps, sparks a dangerous understanding. It's an offer born not of comfort, but of pressure. A path carved by anger, uncertainty, and the sudden pull of consequences that can't be undone. The city becomes a maze of whispered deals and unseen hands. Beneath its familiar surface lies a tangled network of favors owed and debts collected. Will's search for control drags him into this hidden machinery, binding him to choices that grow heavier with every step. As he moves deeper into this quiet storm, Will is forced to confront the moral boundaries he once believed were unshakable. Each decision chips away at the man he thought he was, revealing fears, instincts, and vulnerabilities he never imagined facing. Seeking justice is a tense, brooding descent into moral compromise. The story of an ordinary man drawn into an extraordinary trap, battling forces that lurk in the gaps between revenge, trust, and survival. Number 9. The Rule of Jenny Penn. Elias Mortensen, once a respected judge with a spine of iron and a mind sharp enough to cut glass, now finds himself confined to a care facility that hums with routine and neglect. Age has carved deep lines into him, stripping away authority and independence, leaving him leaning on memory and sheer will to hold on to whatever dignity remains. But that fragile sense of control fractures the moment he encounters Dave Creeley, a caretaker whose smile is a mask and whose puppet, Jenny Penn, speaks with a voice soaked in cruelty. Their arrival unsettles the quiet halls, bringing with them an unnerving presence that gnaws at Elias's already thinning sense of safety. What begins as a subtle intrusion quickly spirals into a suffocating pattern of manipulation and unchecked dominance. This isolated facility becomes a dim labyrinth of whispered threats and unspoken horrors. Behind its orderly facade lurks a current of menace that no one seems willing to acknowledge. Elias's fading strength forces him into a perilous dance with a man who thrives on vulnerability, binding the old judge to a silent war he never imagined he'd be fighting. As Elias is dragged through this bleak maze, each moment presses him closer to truths he has long avoided, about helplessness, about mortality, about the terrifying ease with which power can be stolen. The Rule of Jenny Penn is a stark, unsettling descent into human cruelty. A story of a man wrestling with the shadows tightening around him, where the real horror isn't supernatural, but the devastating fragility of being utterly at someone else's mercy. Number 8. Before I Fall. Samantha Kingston, a girl wrapped in the easy comforts of popularity and routine, moves through her world with the quiet assurance of someone who believes tomorrow will arrive unchanged. Her days are stitched with familiar faces, predictable rituals, and the soft blindness of youth. She floats through it all, convinced the life she knows is unshakable. But that certainty fractures when one night slips into something she can't outrun. What begins as an ordinary day mutates into a relentless repetition, a loop trapping her in a single Friday, forcing her to linger inside choices she once dismissed without thought. This repeated day becomes a narrow passage of emotional collisions. Beneath its suburban glow lies a simmering tension, unspoken wounds, quiet cruelties, and the fragile weight of things left unsaid. Sam's attempts to navigate the loop push her toward uncomfortable truths, confronting the version of herself she's been too willing to accept. As the cycle tightens, Sam is drawn into a reckoning with the lives orbiting her own. Each iteration demands change, revealing the impact of her smallest actions and the hidden ache of those she once overlooked. With every repetition, the veneer of her world peels back, exposing raw vulnerability and sudden clarity. Before I Fall becomes a tender, haunting meditation on empathy, consequence, and the ripples of every moment. A quiet storm of realization where one girl must rediscover who she is before the day finally lets her go. Number 7. Death on the Nile. Hercule Poirot, a man shaped by meticulous order and sharpened perception, carries the weight of countless tragedies behind his controlled composure. Years of witnessing humanity's darkest impulses have carved a quiet loneliness into him, teaching him to move through the world with caution and an unyielding devotion to truth. But his balance wavers the moment he boards a lavish Nile steamer, hosting a celebration wrapped in excess. Among the guests is a circle tied together by old tensions and fragile loyalties, people polished on the surface, yet trembling with unspoken histories. Their gathering on this drifting vessel becomes the spark for a rising storm, a convergence of motives simmering beneath carefully arranged smiles. The ship's opulence turns into a corridor of strained conversations and sidelong glances. Beneath its shimmering charm lies a quiet dread, a sense that something delicate is moments from breaking. Poirot's instinct sharpens, drawing him towards secrets no one wishes exposed. As he navigates this sunlit but treacherous passage, he confronts more than the puzzle forming around him. Every hesitation forces him to face the human frailties he has spent a lifetime observing, yet never escaping. Death on the Nile emerges as a polished, unsettling voyage through desire, envy, and the shadows cast by luxury. A slow unmasking of people bound by consequence, each carrying wounds they cannot outrun. Number 6. Brokedown Palace. Two inseparable friends, raised on impulsive choices and sunlit freedom, suddenly learn how quickly the world can turn unforgiving. Their carefree escape abroad begins to fracture as reality sharpens around them, revealing how fragile their sense of safety truly is. What once felt like a simple adventure becomes a test of resilience, shaped by fear and consequences beyond their control. Their loyalty strains when they're pulled into a place where trust is scarce, and every word carries a hidden cost. Their bond shifts into an uneasy space, still held together by affection, yet shadowed by doubt and the slow erosion of certainty. This foreign environment becomes a claustrophobic maze, swallowing them in routines they never imagined. Beneath its rigid structure lies an undercurrent of quiet desperation, pushing them to navigate rules they barely understand. Each day reveals how swiftly a life can shrink into something unrecognizable. As pressure mounts, they confront who they are when stripped of control. Every choice carries emotional weight, forcing them to face their fears and the changing shape of their friendship. Brokedown Palace is a stark human tale about unseen borders, a descent into uncertainty where loyalty is tested, hope dims and brightens, and two young women face a world that refuses to soften for them. Number 5. The Informer. Pete Coslow, a former soldier carrying the weight of past mistakes, is a man trying to reclaim what little remains of his fractured life. Years of regret and unstable second chances have hardened him, leaving him driven more by duty than freedom. His need to protect his family becomes the last thread holding him steady. But that resolve falters when he's dragged back into the criminal world he once escaped. A fragile deal with federal handlers, uncertain and full of buried expectations, pulls him deeper than he ever intended. When the operation collapses, Pete is caught between corrupt authorities and ruthless criminals, with no allegiance left to trust. The cold, constricting prison corridors become his battlefield, each corner carrying hidden motives and shifting loyalties. His situation demands brutal choices, pushing him into alliances shaped purely by survival. As he navigates this claustrophobic maze, every step brings fresh consequences. Each decision drags him closer to the family he's desperate to protect. and further into the life he fought to abandon. The Informer is a tense, unforgiving dive into moral uncertainty, a portrait of a man trapped between duty and desperation, racing forces intent on claiming him long before redemption can. Number 4. Bad Lieutenant. Frank, a shattered officer drowning in his own excesses, staggers through each day with the weight of his unraveling conscience pressing on his shoulders. Years of corruption, addiction, and unchecked impulses have carved deep fractures into his life, leaving him clinging to a routine built on denial. He's determined to keep moving, even as everything around him slips further out of his grasp. But this fragile detachment begins to crumble the moment he's confronted with a case that exposes the rawest parts of his soul. A crime that forces him to face the ghosts he spent years outrunning. His path through dimly lit streets and suffocating backrooms becomes the catalyst for an inner conflict he can no longer ignore, pushing him toward a reckoning he's unprepared for. This grim urban landscape transforms into a narrow passage of mounting pressure. Behind its noise and neon lies a silent battlefield of guilt, shame, and unanswered questions. Frank's spiraling state drags him into uneasy confrontations, thrusting him into situations that challenge the last shred of humanity he still possesses. As Frank navigates this merciless world, he's drawn into a chain of punishing consequences. Every action forces him to acknowledge the man he has become, and every moment peels back another layer of the damage he's inflicted. Bad Lieutenant is a stark, unflinching descent into moral collapse, the story of a man wrestling with his darkest impulses, trapped between destruction and the faint possibility of redemption that refuses to disappear. Number 3. Hearts in Atlantis. Bobby Garfield, a quiet boy caught between longing and loneliness, is trying to make sense of a world already too heavy for his young shoulders. A mother wrapped in her own frustrations and the absence of real companionship have carved a silent ache in him, teaching him early how to shrink himself just to keep the peace. He's clinging to the fragile innocence of childhood, even as it keeps slipping away. But everything shifts the day Ted Brodigan arrives, an older, soft-spoken man with a gentle voice and watchful eyes, carrying an air of mystery that settles over their small, sun-soaked neighborhood. Their unexpected bond grows in the quiet moments between them, becoming a refuge for Bobby, even though something unspoken always hums beneath Ted's calm presence, hinting at dangers he can't decipher. This sleepy town becomes a landscape of hidden currents. Beneath its warm summer glow lies a trail of tensions and shadowy forces moving just out of sight. Bobby's private worries twist with Ted's cryptic warnings, pushing him into emotional territory far beyond anything he should have to navigate. As Bobby and Ted step deeper into each other's lives, they are drawn into a chain of revelations. Every conversation leaves a lingering weight, and each moment edges Bobby closer to truths he's been shielded from, about trust, loss, and the cost of growing up. Hearts in Atlantis becomes a tender, haunting passage through memory, a collision of innocence and hidden burdens, anchored by two souls who meet at the moment they need each other most. It's a quiet, evocative journey where every feeling echoes. Number 2. World War Z. Jerry Lane, a former investigator trying to hold on to a semblance of normalcy, clings to the quiet life he's built with his family. Years spent navigating crisis zones have etched a lasting alertness into him, teaching him to move with caution rather than comfort. He's determined to shield his loved ones, even if it means keeping his past buried. But that thin sense of safety shatters when a strange, violent outbreak erupts around him, swift, disorienting, and unlike anything he's faced. What begins as an ordinary day collapses into chaos, pushing Jerry into a desperate search for answers and forcing him toward dangers he once walked away from. The unraveling world becomes a maze of frantic escapes and fragile alliances. Beneath its collapsing surface lies a crisis with no clear origin. Jerry's need for clarity drives him into volatile territory, where every encounter carries unpredictable stakes, and every choice tests his resolve. As he moves through this shifting landscape, Jerry is pulled into a chain of escalating consequences. Each stop brings new risks and a stark reminder of how quickly stability can vanish. The farther he travels, the heavier the responsibility becomes. World War Z is a tense, globe-spanning descent into a world near collapse. A relentless survival tale about a man fighting to protect what matters most as everything around him falters. Number 1. Black Swan. Nina, a tightly wound ballerina clinging to her fragile sense of control, is desperate to maintain the disciplined life she has built around routine. Years of strict training and constant pressure have carved a quiet anxiety into her every movement, teaching her to chase perfection instead of peace. She's devoted to proving herself, even as the strain slowly hollows her. But this balance cracks the moment she's cast in a role demanding both purity and darkness, a duality she's never mastered. The arrival of Lily, a free-spirited dancer with an effortless edge, becomes the spark for a tense connection shaped by rivalry, fascination, and unease. Their collision inside the demanding world of elite ballet forms a relationship built on competition and quiet fear. The rehearsal halls become tight, suffocating spaces where expectations grow heavier with every step. Beneath the graceful performances lies a rising storm of insecurity and ambition. Nina's fading focus pushes her into a psychological maze, forcing her to face impulses she's long suppressed. As Nina sinks deeper into her punishing pursuit of perfection, she's drawn toward consequences she never anticipated. Every choice blurs the line between reality and illusion, exposing the vulnerable core she can no longer hide. Black Swan becomes a haunting, intimate descent into obsession, a stark portrait of a young woman battling identity, desire, and the crushing weight of expectation. And that's it for our top 13 thrillers this December 2025 on Amazon Prime Video, Hulu, and Starz. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more recommendations. Drop a comment telling us which thriller you're most excited to watch. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.